Are you ready for a career upgrade? One where you are valued and respected for your expertise, where you get to use your strengths every day, where you're doing work that matters, where you have healthy boundaries, and where you're paid really freaking well. And not only that, but you get to use your privilege to open doors and support others in their pursuit of their own upgraded careers? Well, if that sounds good, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Nicole Case, and after a decades-long career in corporate HR, I'm sharing my behind-the-scenes insider knowledge on how you can upgrade your own career and succeed in this wild corporate world. Each episode will have practical, actionable takeaways that you'll be able to implement right away with some healthy doses of encouragement and maybe a kick in the pants or two. Plus, you'll hear from other amazing women who have upgraded their own careers on their terms. So pour yourself a favorite beverage and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back to the Upgraded Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Case, and today I want to talk about comparisonitis and how to use those feelings to actually move through it and upgrade your career and actually get what you want. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I feel like we've been hanging out together for a whole year, a whole 42 episodes, and I just want to keep it real with you. I have been knee deep in a comparison pity party lately. I've just been in this whole major, oh, woe is me, giant victim territory. It's just kind of where I had been. And I think it's been brought on by attending a lot of events recently and being just around other really amazing speakers and podcasters and just in general, other amazing badass professionals, just, just totally crushing it at what they're doing. And I started feeling myself comparing myself to them and instead of being inspired. And I know that they say you should never be the smartest person in the room and you should surround yourself with people who are constantly upgrading themselves because that's going to rub off on you. And I totally agree with that. I totally subscribe to that. And yeah, I've been putting myself in those rooms definitely a lot lately. But instead of being inspired or motivated, I was walking away feeling less than and, dare I say, envious of them. And I know this is not a good look on me. Believe me, I'm aware of this. And just to be clear, I genuinely believe there is room for everyone. I am not a competitive person at all. Um, like award shows and sporting events and stuff like that. Like there's an element of like cringe for me because again, I am just not a competitive person. And I think that we can all win. I genuinely believe that someone else winning or doing amazing things does not take anything away from me. I totally believe that. So this envy that I was feeling isn't about taking away the amazing accolades from those people who are doing amazing, fabulous things and deserve everything that they're experiencing. This was totally about me and my insecurities. And I knew that right from the get-go. And it was interesting because then I was having lunch with a friend, like kind of right around the same time this was all happening. And she was sharing some similar feelings. She's in the middle of a big career pivot and was saying that she's been seeing people on her LinkedIn getting promotions and new jobs and other awesome opportunities. And she said that she was also feeling this way. And at the same time, she was also feeling guilty for having those envious feelings, right? And I could not have related to her more in that moment because we intellectually know that we are all unique and we all have special strengths and skills and abilities and we're all running our own races. And then when we do have these irrational or quote unquote negative emotions, we end up beating ourselves up even more because we think we should know better. And so the shame spiral just continues, right? So, first and foremost, it is normal to feel all these kinds of emotions. It is normal to compare ourselves to others. We say that representation matters. And when we are in the growth mindset around comparison or around that, we can feel inspired and hopeful that we could also someday have those jobs or have those accolades or have those experiences or the skills or whatever that we're witnessing in these other people. And again, I don't think the point here is to never experience these quote unquote negative feelings, but to be able to notice when they are happening and just figure out what they're telling us. So I just want to share here with you today what I've been doing to pull myself out of my comparison, envy, pity party. So, first, I celebrated their achievements. Again, I am just somebody who is genuinely so happy when people are also happy and are finding success. So I celebrated the fact that these are people that I've been around recently and witnessing these events, that they are finding such success. I'm so excited for them. And I'm sure they had to practice so hard to deliver that talk so well. Or I know that this one person has been working on this particular concept for years and they've really been putting the reps in order to like articulate that message just so clearly, and it's clearly paying off. And in some cases, I literally told these people these things. In some cases, these people don't know me at all. So I'm just kind of in my journal congratulating them. But so I just started here. I just started kind of just with a celebration for them. And this has to be genuine. You have to really genuinely be in this place or you will continue to feel grimy. So if you are not in this place yet, move on to some of these other steps and come back to this one later. Because again, I said I am genuinely somebody who does not believe in the competition necessarily. So this was a little bit easier for me to start with. So if that's not how you're naturally wired, or you're just kind of really in deep right now, that's okay. Come back to this one. You can build up to this one, not a problem. And then the second thing that I really started thinking about and really started implementing was that I limited my social media doom scrolling. I mean, seriously, have you ever felt really energized and excited after a doom scrolling session? Now, I mean, I definitely don't think that social media is all evil, but we must engage in it intentionally. And I think again, the doom scrolling habit is just again a nasty habit that's just been kind of sneaking in on me recently, and I really needed to break it. And for me what that looked like was actually just not being on social media just at all, just to kind of break that habit. um However that can look like for you, I definitely think that you can utilize social media and be on it and not slip into doom scrolling, but for me I needed just a bit of a break. But then with that break, then I broke out my trusty journal. So again, for me, what these experiences or what these things that I've been feeling, what it's just telling me is that again, I'm feeling some insecurity here. I'm feeling like I'm not putting in the reps myself, or I'm not focused on the right things to move me towards some of these same goals that it appears that some of these people also have. So that was just kind of my insecurity that I knew was coming out. So I broke up my trusty journal to journal through it. And so here are some questions that you can also ask yourself, that you know, some of the questions that I ask myself, and then you can feel free to take some or all of these as well. So first and foremost, you just have to ask yourself, what is it about this situation that you're either envious about or you're comparing yourself? So again, are you comparing yourself because this person got the job title that you want? Is it actually the job title that you want? Or is it just, I want to move up? Or is it, I want to be that influential in my organization? Or I want the level of authority that comes with that particular role, or whatever it is, right? Get really, really specific about what it is in the situation that you're envious about. And then also ask yourself, how is me being in this comparison pity party serving me? How is this actually serving me? And for me, what I was realizing about myself was that because I'm not putting in the reps in this particular area of my life and in my business, it's keeping me safe because, again, in this context, for me, it's about speaking and about sharing my message clearly. And I have this limiting belief sometimes that I'm all over the place and I ramble and I'm not super clear in my message and I'm not super polished. So by me not working on this specifically, it's keeping me safe because then I'm not putting myself out there for the speaking engagements that I want or to be on the podcast that I want. Because if I don't, then I'm not going to get that rejection. So I knew I needed to dig down in through that to like figure out what's really going on here. How is me staying in this comparison pity party serving me? And again, it was keeping me safe from rejection, basically. The next question is, what would having that thing, that skill, that experience, that job title do for you? Like, what is that actually going to do for you? And I think this is a really important question here as well, because we have to understand, like, why is it that we want the thing? Like, why is it that we want this? What is it going to do for us? To what purpose or to what end is having that job title, having that accolade, or in my case, getting that speaking gig? What is that actually going to do for me? Let's get really clear about what purpose that will serve. And then we have to think about, what would it take for you to get there? Like, what is it going to take for you to get to that next level? What is it going to take for you to get yourself on that stage, to speak in front of that audience? What is it going to take for you to actually get there? And this is a great reminder of, a lot of these things take work and take effort and take time. So then the next question here is, do I even want that? And am I willing to even put in the effort? This is a great way to really get us back and ground us, to make us realize that, yeah, these people that maybe you're envious of, or you're comparing yourself of, and you're feeling lack around, they put in the reps, they put in the work, they put in the effort. And do you even want the real accolade, right? Or do you really want the exact thing that you're envious of right now, or you're comparing yourself about right now? And if you do, are you willing to put the effort in? Are you willing to put in the work or do the specific things that are necessary in order to get yourself to that place? And if the answer is no, I don't care about any of these things, how can I actually let this go? How can I let this go then? Um, this whole experience was also brought on by a really great kind of small group environment that I was in. And my friend Kristen was leading this conversation. And there was a woman in the room who just shared, kind of like, well, in my personal life, I feel really guilty or feel really bad about not putting my laundry away every week. I see everybody else, on Instagram and on Pinterest and whatever, all these other moms and whatever, that they somehow can like have businesses and have careers and also have a family at home, and somehow their laundry gets put away. And so we started kind of like digging through this, and I asked her, I was like, okay, so what would the effort be? What's the effort required for you to not only wash all of the laundry every week, but then put it away? Like, what does that effort look like? And are you willing to put in that effort? Like, do you want to put in that effort? Does it really matter? And she was like, "You know what? It really doesn't." Like, it just doesn't. Like, it just like she like after thinking through it and talking through it, she's like, "You know what? That effort, I would rather be sitting on the couch watching a show with my kids, or I'd rather be doing something else with my kids than putting in the effort to, you know, the time and the effort it would be required to fold that laundry and put it away." And I was like, "Well, then maybe you can just say, 'Hey, we all have clean clothes, and this isn't where we get it. We pick it up in the baskets in the hallway, and we're good with that. So how can we let that go?'" Which was just a great, beautiful moment and a great example of, you know what? I actually don't care about this. This is actually not a top priority for me, or something that I'm willing to put the effort in, because I know that if I have to put the effort in here, I'm going to have to trade off somewhere else. And she just wasn't willing to put that effort in there. And so if that's the case, if that's what you kind of find out, then great. How can you now let it go? But if it is something that you want, and you are willing to do the work or put in that effort, what would I need to stop doing, right? And so again, this goes back to this idea of, if you are going to put effort in this area, you're going to have to make trade offs in other areas. So for me, it was clear that, hey, I needed to really sit down and put some time and effort into developing some of these talks and some of these concepts that are in my head, and I want to get out into the world. That takes time and takes effort, and so I need to let go of some of these other things that I'm working on. Some of this busy work that I've been distracting myself with in order to really make the time to put that effort in. And then finally, what are some simple steps that I can take to really start moving forward in an inspired way? And so, what that looked like was me going to my favorite coffee shop, sitting down, and just kind of journaling out some things. And then on a different day, really just spending some time in my office and whiteboarding and sticky noting some thoughts and some concepts. That's really what that looked like for me. So again, um, your some journal prompts that you can use here are, what is it specifically about this situation that I'm envious about or comparing myself? How is me being in this comparison pity party serving me? Because it's probably serving me somehow, or else you wouldn't continue to do it or wouldn't continue to be in it. What would having that thing, that skill, that experience, that accolade actually do for me? How is that going to support me or move my goals forward in some way? What is the effort required, or what would it take for me to get there or to obtain that skill or to have that experience? And do I even want that? And am I even willing to put in the effort? If not, how can I let this go? But if I do want it and I am willing to do the work, what would I need to stop doing? What are some habits, or what are some just busy work or some things that I need to set aside or stop doing so that it frees me up in order to be working towards these things that I'm now saying are important to me? And then finally, what are some just really simple first steps that you can take to start moving forward in an inspired way? So I am happy to report that after doing these exercises, some crying, lots of crying, really, um, talking with my husband, crying to my husband, and talking with my coach and my therapist, and crying to my coach, there were a lot of tears. Like there was something happened. There was really something, something going on in the water that week, or in the water that month. Um, but I am definitely feeling so much better, and I am taking some really intentional steps towards things I want. And I'm really excited about it. So again, this is not about eliminating those feelings forever, but really just getting quiet and figuring out what they are and what they're telling us. So if this episode resonated with you and you want to start taking steps to get to that next level or to upgrade your performance in some way, send me an email at nicole@theupgradedleader.com and we can talk more about what that looks like. So I will see you back here in 2 weeks with another episode, but in the meantime, your career deserves an upgrade.